Ladies and gents, after that extended break, what is up? Welcome back. Totally don't do a heart attack, because it's time for the daily. To continue. A pretty melodramatic intro, but that's okay, because I've been watching The Blacklist, and melodrama is what everything is about. And I will only talk to Elizabeth Keene. Why will you do that? Ooh! Oh my god. I bought one of those lifetime subscriptions for it on Amazon, so it's just charging me for it. Nothing cracks. Listen, we've gotten this far in Daily 663, where we've seen innovation, the negative effects of this harassment on his play. Now, ordinarily, these three buildings are enough to give a typical Terran player a terrible time. Everything I just said is false, but it had alliteration, so let me try a second time. Normally, these three buildings are enough to deal damage to Protoss. We can do medevac drops against what would ordinarily be a relatively weak against drops Protoss. But remember, this stuff has blink. It's got blink, baby. So suddenly the drops are a lot worse. Now, one thing that's a little bit rough about the situation is that this Colossus should have been done by now. It's a little bit of a fluke that it is actually not done, but that's okay. It arrives soon enough to hurt him with tunes of stuff. Remember, with Blink we can chase things down and make that Terran frown. In the very early stage, we talked about how those Blink Stalkers helped protect these probes from moving out, or protect these probes as they moved out. I mean, we're getting a lot of proxy pylons during that opening stage. And then following this is what I would call a relatively intuitive follow-up from Patience. I think it is incorrect to overly swiftly tech to High Templar. I think what will most often be the superlative of success is just getting the charge and continuing to go Colossus. Because we're kind of leveraging the fact that we already have Blink. Now, we're going to not spend too much time on the rest of this game because it's pretty straightforward. 2-2 upgrades cometh. Nexus goes down. Remember how we talked about idle gateways? Well, look at them. There they are, all idle and stuff. All of our chrono boosts go onto the upgrades. We have plenty of probes. That might be the one hidden thing that was going on throughout all this. Most of the time, Protosses like to halt their probe production once they hit 16 at each base. And then they only begin probe production when they start this expansion again. Patience has been going probe wild this whole time. So he actually almost has enough to have 3 fully saturated bases immediately. 66 is the number for 3 fully saturated bases. There's actually just one round of dudes for good friend Patience. And then everything's pretty straightforward from here. Devilishly well-placed observer. Cunning pylon at the side. Probe barreling his way to do yet more pyloning at the bottom. It's a little bit difficult for Innovation to do much of anything. He's in a tough spot. Because what do you know? Look back here. Remember how I told you about these barracks 4 and 5? In theory, having been done long ago. Well, they're not, man. They're only just finishing up. So look at the unit count, man. It's tiny. Look at this tiny. This is everything. This is the whole 9 yards. This is the whole shebang. This is all she wrote. This is the cherry on top of the cake. But guess what? There's no cake. There's just a cherry. And those aren't even that fun to eat, because when you want to sink your teeth into it, you hit a pit. Last thing on the list for Patience, which is often early on the list in other builds, is this Colossus range. Everything else comes first. Blink. Charge. 2-2. Buildings. Expos. Oh look, we're almost at the magical number of 66. These drops don't do it. when you want to go through it. Now this can be marginally tricky, but it's pretty straightforward. A single Colossus in the back is almost always enough. Leave everything else at the front. Aw, yeah. Now, Innovation does this rather whoopsie-daisies play. Gets punished for it on two locations. But what I do enjoy a lot about watching Patience in this point is that he still is building a lot of Stalkers. Often Protosses will stop at 8 and say, well, that's good enough. But especially with the 2-2 upgrade, Stalkers finally do begin to be brutal against Bio again. And shortly hereafter, Patience is going to win the big one. Just to talk about a little bit of the tactics that we're going to see Patience do here that are really great. I mean, first and foremost, he just wins. But he dips in really hard and then does these sneaky reinforcements into the back. When he pushes, when he's applying pressure, is generally when we'll see him do these warp-in little swing-arounds. But there's another sexy one that I wanted to show you, and then we'll go on to another game. He's doing these attacks. They're very intimidating. Terran is very upset. He's crying. Look at how late that Templar Archives is. And I don't mean late as in incorrectly late, like derp, he messed up. But as in, the commitment has been largely to Colossus. There's 3 on the field. There's about to be a 4th on the field. There's been Colossus that have died before and lost their lives. So Patience just spent a lot of his money on those. And the Templar Archives is appropriately late. I mean, I really like this play. Again, the reason he can get away with staying so low on the Templar count and doing any of those transitions is because Innovation has been largely committed to a small barracks count. But here's another cool play. We see a lot of Protosses do this, that they dip in deep and then leave the Zealots. Or I should say break the Zealots off the main army. So watch this push. Literally dips in almost all of his units. Maintains an engagement front right here while these Zealots break off. So damn good. Just a really elegant play. Speeding it up. Don't need to move much, cause that is not a lot that Terran can do. Ba-doo-be-doo-be-doo-wop-a-whoppity-boppity-doo. Patience likes to beat you. Come on, Innovation, we got a show to do. Okay. Now the most dangerous part of the daily, the most dangerous game. Hope it didn't crash. Alright. Now the other game that he played, I believe, was in Winners Bracket Round 3 now. Here we go. Let's go ahead and zoom past the opening game heart stage so we can see a little bit of Patience doing this exact same build, but under some different presumptions. Here's Patience. He's leading, oh, everything so well to do a wop bop. Do. Let's note how little Patience scouts, shall we? I keep on wanting to call him Patient. That's not his name. Damn him and his bastardizing of the English language. Cool. Cybernetics Cole. Going right on down for Patience. Zealot gets started, gets cancelled the last second to produce a Nexus. In terms of scouting, Patience has seen nothing. Following that is going to be the Mothership Core, and you know what I would expect to see after all that investment into this build? An Assimilator. Coming up next is going to be a Pylon. Somewhere. There it is. There's a Stalker. Last but not least, Warp Skates. Great. Now, what Patience is going to see is quite a lot. He's going to get a chance to see, an expansion. He's going to get the chance to get in here and see, you're doing this 2 barracks junk. He's going to come here and go, okay, well, I'm just going to head right on home. Now, this is information that Patience received this game that he did not receive in the last game. He's still doing the same opening in pretty much every way thus far. Why would a blink all-in be pretty strong here? Reason is that we ask ourselves what normally holds off a blink all-in. Typically, it's our ability to produce Marauders 2 at a time. Let's take a normal Terran early expand. Barracks, command center, barracks, barracks. It's like as old school as it gets, right? It's so normal, barracks, command center, barracks, barracks. Hell, you could even go command center, barracks, barracks, barracks. Anything that gets you 3 racks and 2 bases. This is how Terrans normally do it. Then when Terrans get the gas, they get that 1 tech lab with stim. This is the normal Terran again. So if a normal Terran is left unperturbed, we will often see him wait a long time to get the other 2 add-ons on his barracks. Maybe around the times he's getting medevacs, he'll get another reactor, another tech lab. But if that normal Terran sees a blink all-in, it's easily thwarted by simply throwing down another tech lab. Why am I bringing up the normal Terran in this game? MMA doesn't have an extra barracks to be throwing down a second tech lab. He only has this one. It's very difficult for MMA to actually get double Marauder production unless he lifts this barracks away from the reactor and then just kind of has it on just 2 barracks making Marauders 2 at a time, and then maybe he starts the 3rd barracks then. I don't know, it's really, really tough. The idea behind MMA's build is to say, oh, well, if I'm going to be normally going 2 barracks without add-on, 1 barracks with tech lab, I can do the same production with 1 reactor barracks and 1 tech lab barracks. That's why Terrans think that this is going to be, why Terrans can get basically an equivalent amount of Marines out. But they can't get the Marauders that they need to deal with these sorts of all-in things. So unless MMA can get a really solid scout on this, it becomes super difficult. Alright, here comes Dr. MMA is gonna spot it all day. So he's gonna get in, he spots it. This is a difficult moment for a Terran player. Rather difficile. We've seen MMA be amazing at holding off big blink plays before, but he just doesn't have the tools. He doesn't have that extra barracks. He moves forward, and watch this. Patience even gets the opportunity, or MMA even gets the opportunity to pick off these 2. So good. There's the scan. It sees absolutely everything. But we can tell that Patience has already planned on doing this all in because he only has 1 assimilator here, not 2. We saw 2 in the last game. Moves in, picks off a single SCV, and then is largely dead at this point. Didn't do it, did he? No problem. 6 gate, don't hate the 6 gate. When do we stop building probes? When we have 16 at each location. Thereabouts. I think he's... yeah, he is going to produce up to 16 there. And it might not be fast, but it is super powerful. I think what might be the correct answer is just to be building a lot of Widow Mines right now, but, like, I don't really know. Truly, I do not. Medevac's coming out. Blink's gonna go into the main. I mean, this is just brutal. This looks a little bit like a positional snafu by MMA that he got out of position, but even when MMA is in position, he just gets rolled because there's so many so many stalkers. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. Super hard to hold off building Marauders only one at a time. Now, do note, Patience does not have a bad economy right now. He has about 16 mining minerals here. He's fully saturated in his main base. He just doesn't have any tech other than Blink. Could probably start a robo facility right now. But it's a very nice little play. So cool. What we've seen thus far is in part 1, this opening from Patience, where he goes for this very, very, very fast Blink. And just does some light contain. We saw how it messed with innovation. We saw then how Patience was able to follow up on it. The biggest thing is really identifying if there's weakness in our opponent. In the second game, we saw an example of seeing that weakness. Oh, you don't really have the third barracks to be able to defend me, so I'm just going to throw down the gateways and kill you. And yes, he did queue a Nexus there at the end, Shaku. Now, even though we have just talked about a build thus far, I want to show you how the way Patience plays is a lot about doing these funky attack timings that are very, very atypical for a Protoss player, but super strong. So let me hop back over here. This is a game between Patience and Pult, also at DreamHack Winter Open 2013. Great. Patience is going to do a completely different build and yet still take advantage of these weak little kinks that Terrans tend to have. So as many of you know, the Oracle is a freaking beast nowadays. Super duper strong. Not just in terms of its ability to deal damage, but in terms of what it will cause the Terran player to do back home. So we're going to see out of Pult, again, a really similar build to what we just saw. Reaper into a second barracks, and so on and so forth. Let's take a look at what's going on in Camp Patience. Usual Nexus first. Usual Mothership core. Usual Gas Geyser. Usual Pylon coming up next. I think this guy builds it. Yeah. Then a Stalker. Then Warp Gate. All the same sorts of things. But instead of going for a Twilight Council right now, which Patience could afford, he's going to go for a Stargate. Yeah, you see a Stargate. Where's the Stalker? Oh, I think he canceled the Stalker because he thought the Reaper was going to leave. Oh well. Not as fast as the Stargate could have been. Not slow by any means. Now let's come back here to Pult's base. And look. Same looking thing we saw before. But let's take a look at what Pult's able to find out. With his sneaky little Reaper. So I'm going to go to the Protoss, or just to the Terran camp for now. Terran sneaks in. Doesn't get the intel. So what's Terran doing? Usual things, upgrading, getting a stim. There's still no bunker. Why? Because he saw no units at the start of the game. Doesn't know that there's this Oracle thing coming up, but suspects it. For all intents and purposes, Pult is properly splitting himself up against Stargate. So let me see, where is the Oracle at? There it is. Okay, so Pult can do one of two things. He can either have scouted the Oracle and the Stargate, or he's so good he can just kind of sense that you're going for Oracle. Look at this. Look at these guys parked back here. Look at these guys parked back here. We have the beginnings of the awesome. So this is what impresses me about Patience, as this game connects to the previous two games we saw. In the previous game, I would say the innovation one, Patience knows, okay, if I open with this Blink Stalker play, you're going to be very far behind on all your buildings. You're not going to have up to 5 barracks total. You're not going to have your third base. You're going to be so worried about an all-in Terran that I can take the opportunity to get all the rest of my tech done. Now, in this game, Patience, we're actually going to rewind a little bit so we can truly appreciate this form and function. Patience knows that Pult is very likely, if he spots the Stargate, to throw down all his Marines in these corners, like this. So here's what we're going to see out of our hero Patience. He throws down a total of 3 gateways blindly. All he has seen right now is a Reaper, and all he has really done is try to protect vision. Here's the Oracle coming on out. Blind 3 gate. Blinded. Double chrono going down. How many Oracles? 1? Hell no. We're going to get 2 in a second. Come on, Patience. Focus, man. There we go. So these first 3 Stalkers, one could argue, are always fair for defense. But, you know, as we talked about in part 1, if you get 3 Stalkers, you could make use of them, such as going for Blink and stuff like that. Look at Patience. He's already planting a pylon down here. Watch what winds up happening. Pult, who may have scouted or may have simply sensed that an Oracle was coming, has put 6 Marines here. Has put 6 Marines here. Has even left a couple at the front. Here comes the Oracle. And this is where Pult's like, oh yeah, I got him, I'm so smart. Well, Patience just builds 9 Stalkers and goes and kills them. Because look, there's all these units split at the back and at the front trying to deal with the Oracle. And here comes the Stalkers just waltzing on in. Sometimes this bunker will be done and have units in it. But you can always turn on the phaser beam, whatever the heck they're called. Pulsar cannon? Pulsar beam, there we go. Phaser beam, pulsar cannon. Oh, I don't know. How can I be exactly wrong more times? But yeah, you can just target fire with the pulsar beam and the Stalkers and take this down pretty high percentage. This is also why Patience builds the second Oracle, so he can really rip down these Marines with ease. Really clean little wind play. Has these 2 geysers done. They've been done for a while, so we see some gas beginning to stockpile as well. In the midst of this attack, a robo facility goes down for Patience because he does know he needs to get some way out of this opening. He needs to transition at some point. He's going to continue to build probes beyond the saturation point of 44, so that way he can prepare for a 3rd. And then he wins. Nice! So when we come back in part 3, we just have some time to look at some different openings. So I'm just going to start clicking on PvT games for Patience. There's one that I want to watch, a really cool, aggressive little variant that Patience does on Belshir Vestige. And then we'll be done.